Hey guys, welcome back. I'm just popping in to do another intro. The destination for today's video is to get to the point where we have 3 signatures sewn into a spine strip. The spine strip is just what I call it. It's just Tyvek and cardstock. I'll go more into that in the video, but I did struggle a little bit in this video, but I'm not going to cut it. I am dealing with some brain fog and other issues, and I think that really impacted my kind of clarity and my usual step-by-step process and knowing exactly what to pick and where to go and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to leave it in because that's kind of real life and what we all go through, but it turned out just fine. And I want to thank you for going on this adventure with me, and here we go. Hey folks, welcome back to another installment of Susie's The Country Mouse and the City Mouse Junk Journal. I am today going to be sewing the signatures into the spine, and I will show that in just a couple minutes. First, I want to do the last flip through of my signatures. I do have 3 signatures here. There are a couple things that I do specifically when I make a Little Golden Book junk journal. Usually I do have 3 signatures, and usually I do keep the first signature that comes out of the Little Golden Book in the first signature. I have a second signature that has no pages of the actual book, and then the third signature has the second signature pages of the actual book. So I hope that makes sense. It is just how I kind of keep track of where things go. I always try to put either a corresponding scrapbook paper as the cover of each signature, or I will use just the signature page. And I try to always have the middle of the signature, so the 2-page spread in the middle of the signature. I hope that is all making sense. So I like to do a final flip through of each one before I sew anything together. I'm just looking for the pages to make sense. For example, I don't want like all 3 of the writing pages to be clumped together, and that's just a personal preference. Also, I have these pages that kind of what I call hover in the middle. So it is not as tall as the tallest page. So in the Little Golden Book world, that means I have pages that are 8 inches tall, and I have some pages in here that are not 8 inches tall. So if I grab the signature, stack it like this, everything's going to fall to the bottom, which is fine if you want that. I prefer to have some of them hovering in the middle. So as I go through, I will take little pieces of either washi, mint tape, whatever you've got that's low tack, and make sure that the page that hovers is taped to the page it's next to, and it kind of stays in the middle there during the life of the sewing step of sewing. So, and then I have generally a piece of graph paper in every signature and a piece of composition writing paper in every signature. Some of them aren't 8 inches tall, but I will just let them kind of drop to the bottom. For example, this one is a little shorter, but it's not dramatic if it's not, centered in the middle. I put this doily next to this illustration. I thought it was cute because they're all having dinner. There's that. When I'm going through this, I'm also looking at a few other things. Let me tape this one in also. I want to make sure when I tape it in that it is snug in the fold there. This is a little tricky because it's a doily. If it were to tear, I don't want it to tear too much. So, and it's just the smallest amount usually helps for this purpose. Here is a envelope. I'm gonna go ahead and tape as well. Again, you don't have to tape anything if you don't want to. Also, if you're skilled at this, maybe you can just hold things in place as you're sewing. Here's another envelope. It's funny that I have 2 envelopes in this signature. Usually I don't do that, but. So for this one, I can't tape it to this because it's parchment. It would just come apart. So I'm just going to tape it here. And again, the middle of the signature is that middle 2-page spread. If it doesn't work out this way, sometimes I will put a full writing page or a full fancy illustration. And as you'll see in the next signature, I don't have any of the book pages in it. Let's see, why is this not? I think one of the taped pieces is not cooperating. Let's see. Now I'm doing a lot of kind of adjusting and fiddling with the pages, but I'm always keeping them in the order that I put them in. Just making sure that everything is snug. That seems much better. Signature 1, I'm going to set it aside. Here's the middle signature. Again, this signature doesn't have any of the Country Mouse, City Mouse book pages in it. I did the cover of the signature as this kind of clip art book page. Then I have the baseball card sheet. I'm not really sure what the name of this is. I'm sure I had to type in something to order them, but I can't remember. I think it's baseball card collection notebook sheet. Anyway, so again, this one is a sheet that has 9 squares. It's probably hard to see this, but it had 9 squares and it had holes for 3-ring binder, but I cut off the holes and I cut off one of the strips. So I just want to make sure that the top of the pockets are facing north when I sew it all together. And this page is really interesting. I couldn't decide whether I wanted, and this is one of those things where I probably thought about it too much, but I couldn't decide whether I wanted this top fancy piece of this frame to be the front of this signature, or if I wanted this piece because it has this little label. So I thought about that for quite some time. So I want to, for this, because this plastic is a little thick, it has a seam, and it is slick, so it might move around a bunch. I always try to tape this in, at least on one side, to hold it together. Painted papers. I'm going to take this envelope and flip it around this way. This is not paint, I'm sorry, this is ink. Graph paper, stenciled paper. Of course, one of my typewriter textbook pages that I love to put in most of my projects, most of my junk journals. The only thing that I didn't end up doing is tracking down atlas pages today because my room is kind of chaos. So just again, flipping through real quick to make sure everything is in order. This one's north-south, so I'll put that one that way. And I don't know if it's easy to tell from this angle or as I'm doing a quick flip through. I never know what orientation this paper goes in. It must be that, right? I try to kind of mix up as we go through the signature, mix up what we get. So here's an inked paper, here's a processed page, you know, something that's printed, graph paper for potentially for writing space, and then another hand done paper, a, you know, kind of, sorry, I want to just vary it as you go through. I don't want all of the writing paper to be together. I don't want all of the inky paper to be in a clump. I mean, I may do that, but for my general how I put them together, I like it just very staggered. And then as we come to the middle here, you'll see I have this book page. This is a John Alcorn illustration from a music book. And this is a great one, so you should bolo this. I love John Alcorn. John Alcorn is often called like the dollar store Peter Max, but I love him just as much as I love Peter Max. So I wanted something that has a 2-page spread in here, so that's what I chose. And this one is ready to go. And in our third signature, I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to flip through it real quick, make sure I understand how it goes. This one is funny because it has an extra page. This was actually, the back of the book had one of those pull-out order forms. And so it was actually 2 pages. Right. Actually 3 pages? I'm trying to figure this out. Sorry. Acting like I know what I'm talking about. Excuse me. So there's that. And this is all together. It is all glued together in a weird way. See that? I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, it's probably more than you needed to know. But, so the book pages are going to be together here because they're stuck together. They don't come apart. Do they come apart? Thanks for coming on this adventure with me, guys. Yeah, see, if this comes apart, it's just 1 page, so I'm going to leave it. This one feels like it's sticking out a little too far. And usually what that means is that the pages aren't settled in to the fold as well as they could be. I'm not sure why. So I'm also looking at this to see if there's anything funny from this angle. I don't know if that makes any sense, guys. Also, sometimes it's just going to work itself out after you sew it together. Yeah, it feels about right. This way. Just poking out a little further. Okay, so now we have our 3 signatures, and they are in order, and they're north and south and east and west, all in the same order, all in the same orientation. So now I have this extra page. Sometimes I'll have a page that I want to add in after things are sewn in. I'll do some, you know, different embellishments in the book after it's sewn together. But this one in particular is the companion piece to one of the envelopes that's in the book. And I wanted to just either like tuck it in or add it to the flap of that envelope. So it would go out like this. You'll see that probably, maybe not today, but in the next step. And I also have my covers and my spine piece set aside, so I'm going to keep that all together. Now I have this piece of cardstock that is covered in Tyvek, so I just glue Tyvek to the back, and I don't know if you can see, but I have scored it. So this is, each one of these is a 1/2 inch score, so this is 3 inches long and 8 inches tall, and I scored it at each 1/2 inch, so I'm going to have my middle signature in the middle. I'm going to have my signature 1 here and signature 2 here, and then you have a whole inch on each side, but essentially that gives you a 1/2 inch before the piece that you're actually going to bind to the book cover. So this will look something like this when we bind it. So of course this is going to have all the signatures tied to it, but I have this 1 inch, I have this 1/2 inch here and this 1/2 inch here, and it is going to be attached to the spine. And you'll see it because I will provide a video for that piece as well, but I use staples and glue. And I use staples. I do have the Tyvek on the paper, so that gives it, you know, some strength. And I will cover up both the inside and the outside of where the staples are, so you won't really see them in the final product. So anyway, I just wanted to explain that because at this point I'm sewing the signatures to the spine strip, even though the covers are over there. So I have my binding tools in here. I have this little thing. Now, I've been using this all, and when I was watching someone recently, anyway, I can't remember who it is, I'm sorry, but this tool is a dental tool, and I get them in a pack of 3, but this is my favorite pokey tool, but it's also very pokey, so you have to be careful. But this is thinner than this piece. So the thinner or the smaller you can make your holes, the tighter everything can be together, the less wiggle room the thread has in the hole. So you can, if you're so inclined, create the holes as you go with your needle, but it is much easier for me to create them ahead of time. And let me get some clips out here. I need one more large clip, I think is going to help me. Medium? Not large, medium. Well, now we have all the sizes. I think there's one larger size too, right? Well, we're just going to do the best with what we have here. Fur. Sorry. I'm gonna take a drink. Everybody hydrate, even though my hydration is Diet Dr. Pepper. The process that I use for little golden books, I don't need my holes in each signature to be spaced out the same way. When you, for example, when you see, if this was the back of the spine of a book and you are going to see the binding, a lot of times we like to even it up so the holes come in and out at the same spots in each channel. Excuse me. But we are going to cover up both sides of this, so that is a non-issue. Now, always remember, if you're using this tie-back method, that you want the plain cardstock to be facing your signatures like this, because you're going to end up with some room in between each signature, and in my opinion, it is preferable to have the white instead of some of this random writing that you might see. And that's just, you know, a thing that I do. There's no rules. So now, because I have all of the score lines, I'm going to go ahead and just fold it in the middle. And I did use my scoreboard to score these. I'm going to set these two aside so they're out of the way. I need scissors and the thread, and let's get started. So I'm just going to basically wrap this spine piece around my signature, open it up in the middle. There's my monkey. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what's happening with my breathing today. And then I'm going to clip it. When I do this, I used to clip it on all 4 points of the fold. Here, 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 and here. But then one would get wonky and the whole thing would go wonky. Now I just put 2 clips for this, especially for this specific middle signature. And I just put it in and line it or lean it, line it up, lean it in to the fold there. Going to take my purple wax linen thread. I'm just doing a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. There are a million videos on the internet about how to do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I have one, so I could link it down below if you want to see it. This seems extra long. Where's the normal one that I use? Here we go. This is a magnet sheet, but the needles actually tend to roll kind of behind it. I'm going to get this threaded first. I really am. Here we go. Okay. So that's ready to go, and I'm just going to poke my holes. So like I said, it's just going to be my first time using this dental tool instead of the awl, so we'll see if it works. It should. Ooh. You will hear a pop if it goes through the Tyvek fibers. So I want to keep my fingers out of the way. There it goes. And I only am poking holes. They're like guide holes, right? So I don't need to like shove the thing all the way through up to the end. I hope that made sense. And there. All right. Let's see how it goes. Apparently you just throw your pokey tool across the table. Make some space here. I'm gonna go through and do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch like I said. Yeah, actually, look at what I did. The needle is clearly thicker than this tool, so I'm just gonna grab the awl. It might work for something more dainty, or if I use a smaller needle like this. I don't know if I can get my thread in there. Maybe. Let's see. Thanks for going on this adventure with me, guys. Almost. Nope, it does not want. I'm going to give it one more try. It's too difficult. Nope, not gonna work. I need the okay. So it was worth a shot, but I do need the actual needle to get through it without me having to jam it into my hand, so. Let's see if it'll work. Still won't work. Okay. Is this one thinner than this one? Yeah, it's longer, but it's thinner. Let's try that one. Oh, here's one. There we go. Maybe this is the one. Okay. Sorry, I keep sniffling. All right, third time's a charm. I don't know if this is a third time. I lost count. There we go. Yay! Always pick the right needle the first time. So, I'm just going to leave a length of this. Now, 3-hole pamphlet stitch. You just pick the next hole. Also, make sure you know where all of your string is. Huh. If you get a lot of resistance, sometimes you gotta take it apart and do it one page at a time. I also forgot that this plastic piece is in here, and that provides a good amount of resistance. Ooh, all right. So I'm glad that happened, kind of, because it doesn't always look pretty, right? Just do the best you can and with what you've got and the situation that comes up. Oops. There we go. So now I'm going to come back in. When I go in for this last part, I try to, from here with my thumb and here with my finger, pull the string over a little bit. Like, just like, you know, it's still in the same place, but just so it's more this way than this way. Does that make sense? How many times did I say, does that make sense in this video? But anyway, I'm trying to make room so that this needle can go through and not hit the thread, but still get through cleanly. Sometimes it's a struggle. There we go. And so now we have both sides on the one side. We always want to have one string on the right and one string on the left before we tie it, because that's kind of what keeps it all tight. I can just tell by the amount of extra thread that I have here that it's not caught on anything, but I always still like to check. Okay, that was an adventure, folks. I don't need to put that really. So, there we go. So now I'm just going to find that next scored piece. I'm going to check how long this video has been. Before I clip in signature 1, I want to make sure that this signature is in the correct orientation. In this case, really, the most important part of this is that these pockets are upward, facing north, because there's not much else that is an orientation, if anything. This page is. So even as you sew them in, you want to check again to make sure everything is in the right orientation. Let's find the middle. Kind of checking things as I go. Here's our middle. And again, I just folded in that next score mark. I'm going to take the middle of this signature and just lean it right in to that score mark and clip it. On one side. Oops, sorry. Let's see how we're doing from here. Yeah. Oop. It's a little easier when you're just doing this without filming because you can kind of pull it right up to your face to make sure that everything's aligning correctly. So again, we're going to sew a signature and hope that it is easier than the last time. So I'm going to poke 3 holes. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. Oh, wow. I'm going to ignore that one and pull it down here further. Not sure why it's struggling. Well, it's not struggling, right? I'm struggling. There we go. Okay. I'm reopening it because I feel like it's not really attached to the spine very well. Like this fold of the spine is not lining up with this fold of the spine, and this really only works if that happens. So I'm going to go ahead and take it, I'm going to fold it over this way. And when I open it to the middle, oh, everything is leaned in there. This time I'm going to use the bigger clip. And I'm going to clip it to this other signature that's already sewn in. And lean it right against that fold. There we go. Just going to check again before I clip it this side. All right. You can see that the paper has split just from the pressure of moving it around and it not being really tight into that corner. So I will take a look at it when it's done and see if I need to glue it or tape it or put something there or what. Okay. There's that. And this one. So our book is coming together. Gonna take the third signature. Again, gonna check, make sure that this orientation matches this orientation. And I'm gonna fold this. I'm gonna do the same thing. Gonna open up my signature, lean it right into the fold of that spine strip. And clip it here. And also here. Oops. Oh no. Yeah. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. Just holding this really tight right now while I get this clip on. There we go. All right, last one. Come on. It's getting caught on the end here. Sometimes, even though I'm supposed to come through the back, I'll go through here again just to kind of make a new guide hole if needed, but usually just to kind of understand where the needle's going to come out. And then, if I can not move any of the pages during this last part, it should go through. I totally moved all of the pages though. There we go. So that's not even right. Did you see what I did? I made an extra hole. So let's see. Another trick that you can use, I don't know if it's a trick, but is to find the hole through with your awl, and then just kind of align them together. That went through the same one. How is that? What's going on? Okay, I have to put it up against my face. Up against my head. Oh, baby. All right, it made it through that time. It did rip the hole and made it a little bigger. Oh, uh-oh. Okay. I think I might have sewn right through the thread. And if that happens, that's fine. Oh, no. There we go. There's just another opportunity here for me to cover up that extra hole and, you know, to be clever about it. Maybe be clever about it. Wow, I don't know why that was a moderate struggle, but it's together. So all of this, the threads are still attached, but so now we have one block, and this can be, you know, a rounded spine. It naturally is going to kind of round itself once we get it attached to the covers. Also, just because of the way that I have this scored in so many different places here, it, you know, it will kind of curl in like this. When we come back, we will again attach the spine strip to the covers, and we will figure out how we're going to decorate the outside of the spine and the front and back of the book. I might put some holes in. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a twine. I usually, I lately have used a lot of twill tape. Maybe we'll dye some twill tape and figure out if we want to, I'm going to try to not cover up the title. The reason that I created the staple and glue tie-back method is because I wanted to be able to generally always see the full title and as much of the cover as possible. So we'll talk about that more in the next one. I'm not sure if that will actually drop tomorrow, but it'll be in the next few days. I appreciate you going on this little adventure with me. If you have questions about how this is supposed to work, which is how it worked, just, yeah, drop them in the chat or just contact me. And thank you so much for watching this one. I'll see you in the next one.